This report brought to you by the Richmond Club, where investors and high-growth companies meet.
Thank you, Tim, for your presentation. And our next presenter is Kerry Knoll. He's the chairman of Generation Mining.
Thanks for coming out. I would be surprised if any of you have heard of Generation Mining before. It's a new company. It was a spin-out of a company that had been around for a while called Pine Point Mining. Pine Point we sold to Osisko Metals about a year ago. The deal closed in February this year, and we spun out some of the assets into a new company called Generation Mining, and it got listed this summer. Generation Mining is if you take its name, it's a company that is, the concept is to generate new mines, and we're well on the way to do that. We have a management team that is absolutely one of the top in our industry in Canada. We have some really excellent properties, which I'll just touch briefly on during the presentation. I don't have time to go into all the details. But let's talk a little bit about the people and the history. So Jamie Levy, who's here, and myself, as I said, ran a company called Pine Point Mines. And Pine Point was sold to Osisko. It was sold for not a lot of money. It was about 25 cents a share. But if you go back 2 years before that, it was trading at 1 cent a share. And we actually did a financing at 2 cents a share. So I mean, some people made a great deal of money off it. Helena McGregor, our Chief Financial Officer, used to be Chief Financial Officer at Goldcorp and Sherritt. Rod Thomas, Exploration, ran BHP's Eastern Canada office for 10 years, was president of the PDAC, and on and on. And myself, my own background, I've started several mining companies over the years. My first company was Glencairn Gold, which got taken over by B2. It was B2's first gold production. We had 1,200 employees in 3 operating mines when I sold that to them in 2007. Started Wheaton River Minerals in 1991, sold that to Goldcorp in 2002, not before Frank Juster came in and brainstormed the idea of streaming companies and started Silver Wheaton, which is now Wheaton Precious. Also started a company called Blue Pearl Mining in 2004. Had the distinction of being the #1 trading increasing stock in Canada 2 years in a row. It went from 6 cents in 2005 to $24 in 2007. We had a $2 billion market cap, got listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So I've done this a number of times and plan to do it again with Generation Mining. I'll touch briefly on our projects, our current projects. So our Davidson molybdenum deposit is probably the richest and one of the largest undeveloped molybdenum projects in anywhere in the world. It was when we had this project in Blue Pearl Mining in 2005, we had a $200 million market cap just on this project because molybdenum prices were up. Molybdenum, by the way, is a steel alloy. Molybdenum is a proxy for oil. So if you think oil prices are going to go up, then you probably should be thinking that molybdenum prices are going to go up. This project right now is just on hold. We figure it's going to cost us about $8 or $9 a pound to produce molybdenum. Molybdenum's trading at just over 11. But if we ever get a rally in oil, if oil goes back to $100, I think you're going to see molybdenum trading in the 20s, and this is going to be a mine that's going to be built at that time. And as a result, we don't spend very much money keeping it. I think it costs us $100,000 a year to hang on to it. And the work that's been done on this project would cost about $75 million to accomplish today. We've also got a project in Alberta called Alberta Zinc, and if those of you that know mining would think, well, there's never been any base metals produced in the history of Alberta, but this is a kind of an oddball project. It's up near the border with the Northwest Territories. We've got a 4,000 square kilometer zinc anomaly that was discovered by the provincial and federal governments a few years ago. 4,000, I've never seen an anomaly that's 10 square kilometers. So having something that's 4,000 square kilometers, there must be a massive zinc source somewhere below the glacial till in this region of northern Alberta. And we're looking for it. We're starting a program next week. We'll be putting out a release on that shortly. But this thing could be very, very large. And it also would be, if it is there, it's very, very shallow. Because this anomaly was created by the glaciers scraping off the bedrock, and into the glacial till is mixture of these thousands and thousands of grains of zinc that have been found. And we're just looking for the source of it. So these arrows you see in here, that's the arrows of the ice movement. That's the way the glaciers were going. And so we're going in the opposite direction, sampling the soil until we get to the point where there's no more zinc, and that's where you drill. And that's coincidentally is exactly how the diamond deposits were discovered in the Northwest Territories. So that could be a big one for us. Just moving ahead, Nova Scotia, we've got a project in central Nova Scotia called the RAWDON zinc properties. We've done some geophysics on it. We've got our geophysicist, Kevin Stevens, has discovered numerous ore bodies over the years. He was chief geophysicist for both Falconbridge and Glencore over the years. And he's also been Prospector of the Year award for his discoveries up at Sudbury. And he has come up with these anomalies that we intend to be drilling sometime over the winter. So we've just put out a release this morning on those, and I think that's been passed around to you folks. This isn't very clear on here, but what's really important about this is the, I'm not sure how to work this thing. There we go. So this is a deposit that is not on our land, but our land surrounds this deposit. And as you can see, there's a blue anomaly there. You can probably barely make it out. And if you look in the meter, in the scale over here, that's the light blue is right around that. Well, further, so that's here on the property, and then our geophysics on this part of the property over here has got this much, much larger and much, much stronger response. It's the same geology. There's no outcrop on this property that we're aware of, and so this deposit's 500,000 tons. So if you would estimate what this could be, it could be several million tons. Very shallow, and also it could be a lot richer than this deposit. And the numbers on the Smithfield deposit are, as I said, are about 500,000 tons of about 5%, I think, lead and zinc. So again, just drilling in here, I think we have a chance for another chance at a real whopper. And this is the project that I've been working on now for 10 years that came out of Pine Point and into Generation Mining. We have the largest, strongest gravity anomaly in the world. The gravity anomaly, put simply, means that it measures the density of the rock. So if you're standing on top of a nickel mine or a copper mine, generally the rock is dense. It's going to give a stronger gravity anomaly. Put simply, the pull of the Earth's gravity is slightly larger. Very, very slightly, but it's measurable. So we've got this anomaly up on the Arctic coast. If you compare it to what it looks like, so Sudbury is a very strong, large gravity anomaly. Norilsk, which is a 2 billion ton nickel deposit in Russia, is also a strong gravity anomaly. Olympic Dam, which is the largest uranium and the largest copper deposit in the world, also was a gravity anomaly that was drilled as a gravity anomaly and discovered in 1976. And then here's our gravity anomaly, much, much bigger and much stronger than any of these. So what lies below the Earth? We don't know. We have to drill to find out. The model is this, that you've got a big intrusive body down here. You've got what's called a laccolith here. And then when you have faults, the solutions seep up and form deposits. And there's three main types of deposits: the Norilsk style nickel deposit, a SEDEX style, which can be usually lead zinc, and IOCG, which is Olympic Dam, which is uranium, copper, gold, and iron ore. So three types of possible deposits we have. And to take the theoretical model like this and put it into reality, this is what Norilsk looks like. And these red things here are the actual ore bodies that were formed by these faults, by the fluids coming up these various faults. And as I mentioned, that's a 2 billion ton deposit. It's actually the richest ore body in the history of the world in Siberia, in Russia. Olympic Dam, another super rich deposit. It's BHP's flagship. So again, here's the magma that was way down. This is about 15 kilometers down in the earth, and it has 3 conduits that have gone to surface, and there's 3 deposits. Olympic Dam is the biggest, but this is in Australia. There's 2 other large deposits, all coming out of this one conduit. So we did, and this is called MT, magnetotelluric survey, that gives you this model of the earth. So we have done the same thing on our property, and we've got the same thing. 15 kilometers down, we've got a very strong magmatic body, and we've got these arms that have come up, and we've found these things on the top that look a lot like ore bodies. We have not drilled them. We have to raise several $1 million to drill them. We're hoping to do that in the next year, but it will be subject to financing. But we think that these could be something really, really significant, and it could be another Olympic Dam. It could be another Norilsk. We don't know what it is, but it's something that's dense. It's showing it's not only, and it not only is it dense, it conducts electricity. We've done a lot of surveys on them, so we think it is some kind of metal. I'm just going to bump ahead a little bit. I'll just go back a little bit then on this one. So if you look at this, this again is the same project. This is the Darnley Bay. This is the one up in the Arctic, the big gravity anomaly. So these are the targets that we found. These stars, they don't show up very well, but there's 3 stars. Those are the places where we think that there's some metal. It's down about 1 kilometer, not particularly deep for mining. But interestingly, with these 3, the red here, and the red here, and the red pink here, those are magnetic anomalies. And so not only is this stuff show up on the magnetotelluric survey, it shows up on a magnetic survey, and then on top of that, the white lines, and I might be mixing them up, but the white lines here, here, and here are the gravity. So we've got strong gravity, strong magnetics, and strong electrical conductor, all in the same spot. All of those things pinpoint towards the idea that you probably have some metal down there. We don't know what metal it's going to be. We have to drill to find out. So what we've been doing again through this year, and that's there's a town actually. It's up on the Arctic coast, but we happen to have a town right beside these anomalies. So again, to reiterate, what we've been doing in this company is we're generating new models for new mines, and we're looking at new projects. We look at projects almost every week. We evaluate another project. We've got the team of people to do it. As far as the company goes, we're trading at 10 cents, I think, something like that. So we've got a market cap of under $5 million. We have $2 million of shares of another company, another zinc mining company. It's called Zinc. So we've got a little over $1 million cash in the bank, and we've got a market cap of $4.5 million. So very, very cheap at today's price. Good time to get in. Insiders control 25%, and we bought all those shares. Lucas Lundin, a mining legend, is one of our largest shareholders. He's put cash into our last several financings. Jamie and I own about 5% of the company each, and other insiders, virtually all of them own some shares. So we're a company that's motivated. We're a company that's taking advantage of what I think is a real trough in the mining industry that's not going to be around forever, and we're going to continue to acquire new properties. And we're going to focus on turning this company, as all of the companies that I've ever started, every single one has got a mine into production, with the exception of Pine Point, the one we just sold to Osisko, but Osisko's going to build the mine instead. There is going to be a mine there. So that's my focus. You see the junior mining industry, there's 1,000 or more companies, and I would say probably in a given year, maybe 3 or 5 of them become producers. Not very many. Well, I've had 5 of them all become producers in my career. So that's my focus, and that's going to be my focus for Generation Mining. That's the presentation. If you've got any questions, please fire away.
This report brought to you by the Richmond Club, where investors and high-growth companies meet.